Welcome, everybody, to the Calamity Junction podcast, the show where two guys talk about life, liberty, and the pursuit of cheap video games. I am Drop Shadow. With me, as always, as my good friend has been for many, many years, Holtey. Tell him what's going on, man.
Hi.
I've been practicing the spiel. Have you noticed?
You've been doing
practicing
good
the script, man.
in front of your cats and your dog, just like engaging their reaction, I'm guessing.
Oh yeah, they kind of tilt their heads like, whatever, dude.
Doing good. We are currently 2 weeks out from Playthrough Gaming Convention, where we are not going in any official capacity. I am at least going in a fun, hey, it's something to do to get out of the house capacity.
Yeah, I'm still considering it. We're about to close on a house this week, so the next couple of weeks for me will be hectic with and I gotta say, moving an entire game collection and toy collection is a pain in the ass.
I get that.
It's a pain in the ass, but it'll be worth it in the end.
Yeah, and I'm happy about that. But you closed on a house and I closed on a new car.
Yeah, man. And before we get into it, things have been ramping up overseas in the Ukraine. I just want to keep them in our thoughts and prayers. I can't imagine having to wake up and literally fight invaders. Fight for their life, basically. And I pray to God that we never have to go through that here stateside. But if the day comes, I'm definitely be first in line to defend my home. So thoughts and prayers out to the folks over in the Ukraine.
Yes, I completely understand that sentiment, and I also reflect it. And I hope that we're not on the edge of World War III. Mm-hmm. I will say gas prices are kind of shit, though.
Oh my God, dude!
Oof. What the fuck?
What the fuck? I don't think I've ever seen them over $4 in my lifetime.
I have.
I mean,
last time it was under $4 was back in 2000, I think 12, maybe 11. Back when I was working for Disney, maybe it was $3.
Yeah, it was over $3. I don't think I've ever seen them at $4. Now there's some states, it varies by state, right? Like I'm sure gas in California is
almost $5.
Yeah, probably $6 at this point. I don't know, but I know gas in Texas was a little cheaper.
Yeah. Well, I mean that seems to be the thing, is that, and I say this on the only a couple days after I got a new car, that takes gas. Gas prices make me not want to drive that much anymore. Maybe I should have just taken my insurance payout and invested in something else. But
go electric, man.
Buy an NFT or something. Oh God, electric cars are, those are like $60,000. Are you kidding me? I got a great deal on my new car. I got a Ford EcoSport, which is a tiny bit smaller than my Escape that I had. Yeah. But it was only $20,000.
That's not bad, man.
You can't buy that. You can't beat that. I mean, you can, but you're not gonna.
That's not bad, especially for today's prices on vehicles.
Oh yeah.
I mean, used vehicle market is stupid.
It's not great.
It's stupid. Tell them the tale, man. Tell them the tale. Like, I know it was a big thing. You had some distance between you now, between the whole.
Yeah. So I was probably a little dour the past couple podcasts because, all right, I'm gonna tell the entire tale. It's gonna sound like an insurance scam. I really have to preface this by saying it is not an insurance scam. Okay, because this is gonna be part of my bit. Now, like, I have an entire 10-minute comedy routine just over this, and I'm hoping one day I get to talk about it on stage.
I'll shut up so you can do your bit.
Well, I mean, it's not polished, but basically here's the story. So one day I'm driving around and I notice my vehicle, my 2013 Ford Escape with 168,000 miles on it, was shifting between gears a little weird. Like it was going a little rough. Like it would start to go and then it would jump and everything like that. So I was like, I got to get this checked out.
Mm-hmm.
So I go into the next day, I go into the quick lanes run by Ford, and they said, hey, we don't see anything. There's no codes. There's no nothing on it. You're going to have to go to the big boy shop down the road, the actual Ford dealership where you have to have appointments and everything in order for them to even look at you as if they're fancy or some shit.
Mm-hmm.
So I go there, and the first thing they say is, oh, we're so backed up, it's going to take 6 weeks to see you. And I'm like, it can't take 6 weeks to see me for a car. What the hell? And they're like, well, let me check the schedule. The guy's like, actually, we got an opening in a few days on like a Monday. This was like a Thursday or something. And I'm like, fine, over the weekend, whatever. So 1 second. So I was like, all right, fine, whatever. Mm-hmm. So what I do is I go in there on the day you requested. I pull up, and the guy's like, okay, I'm gonna just let you know this. It is going to take you, it's gonna take us at least $400 just to even diagnose it, and then it's gonna take probably about at least $3,500 in order to dismantle it, because there's no issues with it and that we can see. So it's going to just take that time and that amount of money. And I was like, I'm not spending over $4,000 just for this stupid fucking thing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what?
I mean, that's the catch-22 when you because you paid off your car
right
by that time. So eventually you're going to need repairs and shit. I mean, that's just how it goes, man. You save for a little bit, and then you need a new transmission or some shit. You're like,
exactly. So I was like, I'm not doing this. So I immediately go around the corner. I was like, when does the dealership open? Because I'm going to trade in my fucking vehicle and get a new car. And they said, well, it's going to open in an hour. And I said, fine. They have a diner inside this stupid thing, and I'm like, fine, they have a diner in there, whatever. I go and I eat breakfast. It was actually a pretty good breakfast, so I'll give them that. I waited till 9 o'clock. They were open. I then am like, all right, hey, let's look at my car. And they're like, all right, it's gonna take about an hour. Why don't we take a look at what you've got? And I was like, okay, cool. So I took a look at an EcoSport, and everything was going fine. They came back and they said, oh, we're going to give you $2,000 for your vehicle. And I said, no, no. And I was like, I'm not taking that. That's bull crap. The MSRP on this is at least like, $5,000. And they're like, well, that's what we would give you in a trade-in towards a new vehicle.
Yeah, because I go by the Blue Book shit.
Yeah. So I was like, all right, whatever. So I take my vehicle and I go home. On my way home, I get into a car accident.
Yeah.
Literally, I get into a car accident on my way home from the dealership where I tried to trade in my vehicle.
And I'm so glad you made it out of there okay, man. Like
it was a thing. I get hit by a city vehicle. I don't think they ever determined who actually was at fault. Because eventually my insurance didn't really go up. Mm-hmm. So I don't think they ever determined who is 100% at fault.
I guess it's whoever the light controller would be in the city.
Yeah, because I turned on a yellow, and then the guy across, he got a green, and he was already coming through. So it wasn't like he was at a dead stop or anything. He was already coming through, and then plowed into me.
Yeah.
So I call the insurance company and everything like that. Hang on, the reason why I'm taking so many pauses because I'm playing a game while we're talking. I probably shouldn't be saying that. So I'm
very professional.
I'm gonna mute this.
Very professional.
Yeah. I know. So anyway, I call my insurance company. Actually, the very first thing is I call my dad, because my dad's semi-retired, and I was like, I just needed somebody to talk to. They live about an hour south, and I'm just like, hey, Dad, can you come up for the day and just hang out with me, because this happened? And he was like, yeah, of course. Like, my dad's one of those guys that if you sincerely ask, he will drop everything he's doing, no matter what it is, and come up and help or just be there. And I thought that was really nice. We ended up going to lunch. and everything. So I then, as soon as I get off the phone with him and he's coming up to, just get me through the steps or just be with me, I call my insurance company. My insurance company is like, okay, we're going to need this, this, and this. I gave them all the information. Like, we're going to get a rental car for you. In fact, it'll be available today. You can go pick it up at 3:00. We'll get you your car. Everything will be fine. You'll just let us know. You're going to have it for about 30 days because you have $900 worth of rental insurance because I have full coverage.
Yeah.
And
they usually give you they usually do that's a the base 30 days, and then they kind of vary from that.
And I was like, all right, 30 days is should be enough. And so my dad comes up, we go to lunch, and then he takes me to go get my rental car. I go into the place to get my rental car because here's the thing, I became a statistic when that happened because they say that most car accidents actually happen within a mile of your home. I was a quarter mile away. I was up at the corner up there by where I go to get groceries, where I can walk to get groceries, and it happened. So instead of the cop taking me back, I just decided to walk back because I'm like, I'm gonna be on the phone anyway. So I walk back, and then all that happens. He goes to take me later on that day. He goes to take me to get my rental car at Enterprise. I walk in. They say, hey, we got your thing. Just give us your driver's license. And I'm like, fine. I open my wallet. Well, there's not my driver's license in there. And I'm like, well, crap. I know I took it out because I had to give it to the officer who took down the information, and I don't know if I put it back in my wallet. So I'm like, Dad, I don't have my license. He's like, well, let's go back to your apartment. Maybe it's there. He brings me back to my apartment. He's waiting in the car. I come up, look around for 5 minutes, can't find it. I go down, and I'm like, oh, crap, what happened to it? And I start thinking, did I drop it on the walk? Because I know I pulled out the information that the police officer gave back to me to read it to the insurance company, because I called them on my walk back, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to retrace my steps. So I literally go and I take out of my apartment, and I walk back up to the corner where it happened. Halfway there it is, my ID face down, thankfully, because nobody took it.
Yeah.
In the hours that it was there, because it was there for probably about 6 hours.
Lucky. And I know probably a good chunk of people walk in that area too.
Yeah. It's a thing, but it was face down, so nobody took it because it has my Fayetteville address anyway. So even if they were trying to be good citizens, it has my address in a different city, which could have been a problem. So I get it. We get my rental car. I come back, and I couldn't do much with the rental car. I didn't want to, so it was whatever. Then my vehicle was turned over to a claims adjuster, who was like, all right, we're going to determine the value of your car and everything like that. And if we need to make repairs, we're going to go through that and everything like that. And at this point, I'm thinking, hey, you know what? Maybe I'll get a free transmission repair. Why not? So a couple days go by. I end up going to the junkyard to get my stuff out of my vehicle from the towing company. By the way, all paid for by the insurance. I didn't have to pay any of it out of pocket.
Yeah.
And I take some pictures of my vehicle.
I mean, that's what you pay for fucking insurance for, right?
Right. So I get all that done. A couple days later, the guy finally gets back to me, and he's like, okay, we've deemed your car a total loss. And what we're going to do...
Those pictures were brutal, man. I mean,
they were not great.
I mean, there was clear frame damage in the front end of so anytime that happens, it's they just write it off, man. It's cheaper for them to do that.
So they determined that it was going to be cheaper to pay me out.
Yeah.
And at this point, I'm like, all right, they're going to pay off my vehicle. My vehicle's worth about, maybe $3,000 to $4,000 on Kelley Blue Book. They probably won't pay that much, but, I'll use it, whatever. They're like, okay, we're going to pay you $8,100 for your vehicle.
Okay.
And I'm like, what? And they're like, yeah, that's what we've deemed your estimated vehicle to be worth. And I said, okay. So
I'm not gonna argue that.
I'm not gonna argue with that. That's what they deemed my vehicle to be worth, and I was like, okay, cool.
That'd be a down payment right there, son.
That's a down payment and then some. So I get going. But then disaster strikes, because in order for me to get my payout, I have to sign over my title to them. Doesn't seem like a big deal, right? However, I bought the car in Texas, and although they updated my information so they can send me all their stupid spam mail or whatever, they never updated my address with the company that they do insurance through.
So you paid off the car without getting your title?
I never got my title.
Wow.
And I paid it off in 2019, my vehicle.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
so that's not too long. I guess, it's one of those things you just don't think about.
I just didn't think about it because I was like, well, if I didn't think I would ever need it.
Mm-hmm.
So
nah, dude, you always need that title, man.
Then
especially if you wanted to sell the car. Yeah.
1 second.
It's okay. I can skip.
Okay, yeah. There might be some.
Not a big deal, man. It sounded like you were in the middle of something, but
I was just typing. I'm talking to our mutual friend Floyd.
Oh, okay.
I was gonna try to surprise you by bringing him in, but apparently he's not home right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I thought it'd be funny to bring on, and we got a special guest this episode. Anyway, okay, so back to the story. So they did. So in order for me to do that, I had to sign over my title. I don't have my title, so what do? I instantly call the people in Texas, and I'm like, "Hey,
the fuck?
Where's my title? Like, I need my title.
Where that shit?"
So what ends up happening is that they're like, "Okay, we're gonna give you the number to the people who financed you," and I'm like, "Okay," I call them. My people who financed me say, "Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to send you a lien release." What a lien release basically says is, "Hey, you've paid off your vehicle. We're going to send you that. You just take that to your DMV. They'll get you a copy of your title." And I said, "Cool." I had to wait a couple days for that.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point, I'm already 2 weeks after the vehicle, has happened. So I wait 2 weeks for that. Bam, done. I get my lien release. I go to the DMV bright and early Monday at like 8:00 in the morning. I'm like, "Hey, I'm here." And they're like, "Okay, we never got the title, so we can't give you a copy of the title." And I'm like, I know that. That's why I have the lien release, so you can see that I never got a copy of my title. And they're like, "Yes, but we never got a copy of your title, so we can't give you a copy of your title." And I'm like, "I know you can't, because I have a lien release that says that I don't have my copy of my title, and you don't have a copy of my title, but you guys can get a copy of my title for this." And they say no, because the state of Texas never gave it to us. Long story short, I got kicked out of the DMV. So then I go, it was so rough. I then call the guy, I call my insurance adjuster, who's like, okay. He says, let me think. Let me call around to see what I can do. And I said, fine. He doesn't call me back. I have to call him back at like 6 hours later. And he's like, okay, so I'm calling around. I'm trying to get exactly the documents, but basically what you're going to do is I'm going to need you to get a power of attorney, or I'm going to send you a power of attorney. You're going to, fill it out, and you're going to send it back to me along with the lien release, copy of your driver's license, and then we can actually get you the, we can actually go through the process of getting a salvage title and blah, 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 blah. And I said, fine. So he didn't contact me until the next day at 4:00 the next day. So 24 hours, I finally get an email from him with the documents. Now, the documents are a little rough because he says on the email, I need you to fill out these documents and I need you to send them back. And I say, okay, I look at the documents. Most of it's already filled out, at least with my information. The thing that's not filled out is the information about him. Who is he? Blah, 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 blah. And then there's a place to sign and date. So I email him back. I'm saying, hey, when you say fill this out, do you mean just sign and date and then send it? ? I get an automatic response saying this person is out of the office until Monday. Tuesday. He went on fucking vacation. he didn't tell me he was going on goddamn vacation.
Who takes a fucking vacation in February, man? Come on. Like, you just got off Christmas. Fuck.
He didn't. Maybe it was for, I don't know. Maybe it was a Valentine's present. He doesn't tell me. He doesn't tell me he's going on vacation for 5 days and I have to fill this shit out. I don't know what to do. So I'm like, I don't know what to do. I'm trying to contact somebody's office. Nobody's answering. I'm trying to email. Nobody's going. I have to wait another day until finally somebody's like, yes, just sign and date and send it back to us. And I'm like, fine. I print out 2 copies. I go to Staples. I print out 2 copies. I copy my lien release. So I have a copy because I have to send him the original, and I copy my driver's license. I sign it, and I'm like, all right, fine. I'm here at the Staples. There's a UPS here, and I'm like, hey, I would like to send this to this address. So they're like, we don't send this to we don't send stuff to PO boxes. Well, fuck. I go over to FedEx and I'm like, hey, I need to send this. They say we don't send stuff to PO boxes. Well, fuck. I'm like, where is a United States Postal Service? Oh, here's one right here. I click it. I go to the United States Postal Service. It's in a fucking gas station. But it's a legitimate postal service, but it's in a fucking gas station.
I don't think I've ever seen that.
It's so well. Next time you visit me, we're gonna go to the post office in the freaking gas station.
That's sketchy as fuck.
No shit. So I get the envelope. It's a thing, and I put all the things in there that say, okay, it'll be there by Saturday. And I'm like, fine, whatever. So I send it to him, and I'm like, there's nothing I can do for the rest of the day. So I waited until Monday morning, right when that fucker opened, and I called him as soon as he opened, and I'm like, hey, I sent you this. You went on vacation. You didn't tell me this. He's like, okay, did you take pictures and make copies of the stuff? And I'm saying, yes, I did. So he's like, okay, if you send that to me, and I see that there's something, I just haven't been given it to it, but if you send me the copies of the stuff that you did, I can go ahead and I could process your payment because the paperwork is here. It's just not on my desk yet. And I said, I could have done this. You told me I couldn't email it to you. You said it had to be physical copies, but whatever. Yeah. So I send it to him. And then he's like, okay, we're processing your payment for your money to go into your account. And I said, okay. I got it. I got the money the next day.
It's amazing how quick that happens.
No shit.
Especially when you owe a motherfucker money, how quick that shit goes. They take that out of your account.
And now the story of me getting my vehicle. So, what is today? Today is Monday, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this happened on Thursday. Thursday morning, I still have my rental car. Oh, I didn't even say this. Originally, he cut off my rental car 10 days too early because instead of it being 30 days, it was only going to be 21 days because it was supposed to expire on the Monday that he was going to come back.
What the fuck?
So the entire weekend, I'm freaking out like I'm about to lose my rental vehicle. I don't have anything, and why did he cut it off early? Anyway, he fixed that along with the call, that morning that I called him. So yeah, that's another little tidbit that I forgot to add in there.
Wow.
So this past Thursday, I'm like, you know what? I need, let's go. My dad and I were looking at vehicles. We were looking at where to go. And, I'm searching around. I'm searching around for a deal. Like I'm like, I want to put enough down to where I can only have to pay like $250 a month. You're only supposed to put like between 15 to 20% down. And I was like, okay. So I'm looking at vehicles, and I'm like, the Ford EcoSport looks like a good one. It's nice. It's a small car. It's about 20,000 MSRP. That mean I would put down between like $3,000 to $4,000 on it. Yeah. And that would be good. So I start looking around. I look online and I'm like, oh, there's one at a place that's halfway between my dad and I that has a standard edition EcoSport, not an SE, because an SE is like 4,000 more, which is, because it's got extra bells and whistles that people don't give a shit about. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh, it's standard edition. It's smoke gray or whatever. That would be a good one. So I'm like, hey, Dad, yeah, let's do this. Let's meet halfway, because he wanted to go with me to get my vehicle. And I was like, that was really nice of him.
Yeah.
So we meet there. The thing opens at 9. We're there at like 9:20. Mm-hmm. I immediately talked to the first salesman. The first salesman was like, hey, yeah, let's go take a look. And the vehicle wasn't there. I'm like, it says on your website that the vehicle is here. This is what you have. And they say, oh, well, it's not here. What that means is that it's either in transport or it's at the lot or it's being manufactured, but we would have it in stock. I'm like, that makes no sense. You don't fucking have it. Don't put it on your goddamn website. So the guy's like, yeah, it's not going to be here for about 40 days, but we have SCs in stock. I'm like, I don't want an SC. I want a standard edition. And he starts looking and was like, oh, there might be a standard edition available that we could get to you. And I'm like, what does that mean? He's like, well, they wouldn't be here, but they'd be at another location. I'm like, well, what's the other location? He's like, I can't tell you that. If I tell you that, you're going to go there. I'm like, yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
He's like, all right, fine. It's in Durham. And he walks back in and he's pissed off at this fucking point because, I'm just like,
he's not getting a sale. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, whatever. I go back in and the dealer manager comes. And he's like, hey, well, why are you going? And I was like, well, you guys don't have it. You guys say you're supposed to have this. You're supposed to have this, but you don't. It's on your website that you're supposed to have it in stock. And he's like, I can get you a vehicle today. I can get you the vehicle, man. And he's like, and I'm like, okay, what does that mean? He's like, well, there's a standard edition that's not too far. I can call them right now to make sure they put hands on it, and they can bring it here, so you don't have to go anywhere or do anything. You can just come back later today and get it. And
yeah, but then like, where is it? And then how many miles is that putting on your new car?
They're not telling me. That's the thing. Yeah. And I'm like, I'll tell you what, I'm gonna go eat lunch with my dad, because it's about 11 o'clock at this point after all this shit happened.
Yeah.
So my dad and I, we go to eat Mexican lunch, and then we come back, and the guy's still like, hey, yeah, well, it still hasn't been 100% confirmed. And then I'm like, well, how long is it going to be? He's like, the guy just told me he would call me back in 5 to 10 minutes. And I'm like, whatever. So an hour later, and again, I'm still sitting there. My dad's sitting in his car at this point. I feel bad for my dad, because he stuck with me pretty much the entire way most of the time. But yeah.
Well, he's probably just there to support you, man.
Yeah, which is good, but I still felt bad for him. So the guy didn't call him back, and finally he get in touch with him, and the guy's like, okay, they can't get you that vehicle because that is a loaner vehicle. And I'm like, what does that mean? It's like, well, whenever somebody drops off their vehicle and it's going to be longer than the day or whatever, that's the vehicle. So they can't sell that vehicle.
That means it's got a shitload of miles on it. It's probably dinged the fuck. Yeah, you don't want.
And
that.
I'm just like, okay, well then we're gonna go to Nissan of Fayetteville, because my stepmom has a sister that knows somebody that works there and can get us a deal. But the problem is the Nissans are more expensive than Fords anyway. So as we're going out, the guy's like, if you just give me like a couple minutes, can I just like see what else I can do? And I'm like, fine. So
like, you've had like fucking 4 hours.
You have at this point.
I would have just like walked. I'll be like, whatever, dude.
And the guy,
how about you call me? You call me when you get your shit together. How about that?
Anyway, so I give the guy time. I give the guy some time, and he's like, okay, what are the 3 colors that you want for your vehicle? And I'm like, I want a standard edition. I want it either blue, black, or the gray would be fine. So he calls. He's like, okay, I got you a metallic smoke one that can be here by the end of the day. And I'm like, what do you mean by be here by the end of the day? I'm like, it'll be here by like 5 o'clock. And it's like 3 o'clock at this point. And I'm like,
it's probably that one in Durham that they told you about at the beginning of the day. And
that was one, that was probably the one that was a loaner or whatever.
Okay.
Anyway, so I call, so I let my dad go home, and I'm like, Dad, it's just gonna be me. I'm gonna fill out the paperwork. It's just gonna be me waiting for the car. And everything. Why don't you head on home, and then I'll drive the 25 minutes to you after I get it. And he's like, all right, fine. He's like, okay. And they ended up ordering seafood for me for the night, because they know that I don't eat meat, which is really nice of them. So I'm sitting there. I end up filling out all my paperwork. After all the paperwork and giving the down payment, I ended up giving them $3,500 down on the vehicle, because that got my payments to $250 a month. My credit is phenomenal, so it was all a thing. So we go through it, we deal with it. I'm just sitting there, and it's like 4 o'clock after I'm done with my paperwork, and I'm like, oh, I got an hour before I get my car. What am I gonna do? And I'm just looking around, and I'm like, you know what? I need to change my insurance over. So I call my insurance company, and I do all that. 5 o'clock comes around. 5:30 comes around. And I asked the guy what's going on. And he's like, well, the guy did not account for traffic, because he's coming from Wendell, which is about 50 miles away. And he's caught in that 4 or 5 o'clock traffic.
Yeah.
And I'm like, when is it going to get here? And he's like, I'm going to be on. It will be here by probably the end of the day. But the thing is like, when we get the vehicles, we need to do an inspection, and we want to clean it and all that. And I'm like, well, you didn't tell me all that shit. You said when the vehicle gets here, it'll be mine, blah, 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 blah. So the guy's like, here, let me do this. Let me give you a loaner vehicle. You go home, and then what I'll do is I will deliver it to you and carry it tomorrow with it inspected and everything, washed and everything. And I'm pissed at this point, because they promised me a car today.
Yeah.
So I'm like, fuck it, fine. Give me a
at least,
goddamn
at least they're working with you.
Because
they give
the
you
thing,
to his defense.
yeah,
He's trying to smooth it over because you can't account for shit happens, man.
because I should have mentioned this while he was looking to find the other vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
That after the one came back that it was a loaner, I was like, my dad and I drove back up to near where I live and turned in my rental.
Mm-hmm.
So that was like an hour and a half. So and then he brought me back down there.
Yeah.
So we did all that, and I'm like, fine. I took the rental. I drive the 20 minutes to my dad's. I'm pissed at this point, and it's a nice vehicle. It's an Escape, which I'm like, I didn't want an Escape because it's gonna get me, it's bigger than the vehicle I'm getting. I'd rather have something comparable or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I eat food. I eat the food that they left there, and at about 6:20. We're all done with the food and we're just sitting there. And my dad is like, he's getting tired because he had a long day with me, and he's older. And I'm like, you gonna go to bed? And he's like, yeah, I'm probably gonna go lay down. And I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna head back to the Raleigh area where I live, And he agreed everything was bullshit, But I'm driving back, and just something comes over me, and I'm just like, I'm gonna pass right by that Ford dealership.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be around 7:00. I wonder if I just pull in, if I could see if it's there.
Yeah.
And maybe I can take it, drive it home, and drive it back in the morning, because I got to go back that way anyway, because I got to show my dad my new car. Mm-hmm. So I was going to have to drive back down anyway. So I pull in at about 6:45, and I'm just like, look, is it here? Can I see it? And they're like, yeah, it's here. It's in the thing getting detailed. It's in the queue. And I was like, can I just like take it and bring it back in the morning so you guys can inspect it and wash it and all that? And they're like, yeah, you can do that. So we went, we put gas in it. They filled my tank.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I got in the vehicle at 7:05. I was driving off from the dealership to drive home. Holy in my vehicle,
man.
7:05 p.m. when I got there at just like 9:20 in the morning.
Yeah.
And I had to come back the next day so they could freaking wash it and clean it.
Yeah.
And, do the inspection.
Yeah.
So the next morning I wake up and I drive there and I drop off my vehicle so they can inspect it and they can wash it and everything. But I'm not going to wait there this time. It's like 9:00 in the morning. There's a Wendy's that I'm going to walk to. There's a little thrift store that opens up at, roughly 10. I got there about 9:30. That opens up at 10, and they generally have some video games that I would look for. So I drop off the vehicle and I go walk into the Wendy's. The Wendy's is closed. Like, at least the inside is closed. There's no way you can get to. So I had to walk through the drive-thru in order to get 2 egg and cheese croissant sandwiches that they have. So I get these 2 egg and cheese, and I'm walking, I'm eating, and it's like something's tasting funny. They slather it with some sort of a mayonnaise-y relish shit. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? I just wanted egg and cheese. Whatever. I ate half of one, threw the rest away, and was like, that was crap. So I walk across the street, and at this point, it's still like 10 minutes before the thrift store opens. So I'm like, oh, there's a gas station across the street. I walk next to the place, go in the gas station, buy a cosmic brownie, eat it on my way, wait 5 more minutes, go into the thrift shop, buy one PlayStation 2 game, which is called, I'll get it in a minute, something, I think it's something Might and Magic of the Dragon Bone Staff. Heroes of Might and Magic Quest for the Dragon Bone Staff.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay.
PS2 game. It was $5. I was like, all right, it's an RPG. Why not?
Yeah.
So I bought that, and then I go.
Always a good find.
Why not? I then go back, and by that time, I have to only wait 20 more minutes for my vehicle to be done. They already did the inspection. They were just finishing up the cleaning, got the cleaning done, and I was in my car and off to see my dad. And then I was done.
Man, that sounds like I got tired just listening to that, man.
I've only been talking for the past half hour.
I mean, that is an ordeal.
This is the saga that I had to go through for this, man.
God dang, man. No wonder you sounded so tired. Fuck.
It was, yeah. And this all happened within the past few. It was just a thing.
Wow. Well, damn. I mean, at least it worked out. I told you it'd work out, and it did. And now you got your new ride. You got your.
I like it, and they were able to get me metallic smoke gray.
Yeah, can't wait to take a ride in it, man.
It's pretty nice. I'll tell you that much.
Well, that's cool, man, and I'm glad. Again, I'm happy you walked away from that accident, man.
I'm gonna say I was only going maybe about 15, and the guy couldn't have been going more than like 20, 25. But my airbags didn't even deploy. So
they may you may have to be going a certain speed for them to do that.
I think that he just hit the car just right to where they didn't deploy, but
because he hit the passenger side, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that might have been why.
Maybe.
But still, I don't know.
But by the way, for everybody who's gonna ask, all two of you, why I didn't just put all $8,000 down? Very simply, you don't want to put more than generally about 20% down on a vehicle. I could have put $4,000 down, but the thing is that I have loss of income for the past 2 months, or for the past month, and then this month, based on that, so I have to use $2,000 for that for my rent, and then I have taxes that I'm going to have to pay, and that's going to be about another $2,000. So essentially, I really came out kind of even, if not ahead, on this whole deal.
I mean, yeah, because you got a brand new car.
So, got a brand new car.
Always a good thing.
My taxes are going to be paid.
Yeah, I'm going to be screwed on taxes this year, but
Yeah.
That's story for another time.
Well, next year should be good because you're buying a house, right? This year. So next year should be better.
Well, I mean, that doesn't matter for taxes, really.
I thought it did. Why do they always ask, did you make any big purchases like a house?
I don't know. Or I think they ask you if you sold anything, like if you sold a house and made a shitload of money.
Oh, what do you think about the new tax thing where if you make money via selling video games and stuff, you're going to be taxed? Like, isn't it if you do any PayPal or Venmo or any transactions?
Yeah, I think that's always been a thing up to like a certain dollar amount. Like, I think if you make more than 12,000 a year, you have to. That's always been a thing, though. Like, because I did a lot of freelance work, and so if you make over $12,000 in a year, you have to report it.
This is why cash is king.
Yeah, that's why you do them under the table deals. Hey, Uncle Sam ain't got no shit. I pay enough fucking taxes, okay?
And honestly,
go to those senators and ask them how much taxes they fucking pay.
None, because they buy NFTs and stuff, and it's considered charitable donations. There you go. Assets.
I work my fucking dick off to pay for some fucking asshole on Capitol Hill to jerk off to child porn or CP, whatever. We'll bleep that, but
we'll bleep that. Yeah.
I'm kind of that's a nerve for me.
Oh yeah, if I could choose where my money is going, like kind of like charities, you can choose where the charitable donations go. I want to choose where my taxes are going. I don't want it to help another country that is not helping myself. I mean, there are certain exceptions, obviously, but the whole thing is like when they're spending billions of dollars on another country that does nothing for us.
Yeah,
I don't want my money going there.
How many? What was that thing? I'm gonna look it up. It's like some ridiculous amount of money for fucking women's studies courses overseas. Why?
I mean,
why? What the fuck? When we have people here that are homeless and are what America is leading in right now? Fucking prisoners. Homelessness and prisoners. That's what we're beating the world at right now. I
just saw a video the other day. We are number one. We're incarceration. We're number one.
14. We're 14 in education, man.
Yeah,
in the world.
Honestly, if my taxes were going to say teachers, or if they said, "Hey, you become a teacher, you don't have to pay taxes," that's how you get teachers in this country. Yeah, that's how you get anybody to do any job. If there's a job that has a tax break to where you don't have to pay taxes, that's it.
Oh, here it is: $25 million for gender program studies in Pakistan.
Well, okay, I understand why they're doing it, but yeah, it's stupid to do it. they want to do it because I guess they're behind on the way that they treat women there, and so they want to spend the money to go over there to teach men not to abuse women.
Well, first of all, I mean,
as if it's going to happen overnight.
Yeah, that's been happening for thousands of fucking years in that part of the world.
Not that it's right. We're not saying it's right.
It's not going to change overnight. And you know where that fucking money is going to? All these village elders and shit, because they've been doing that for the past 20 fucking years in Afghanistan since the army's been there, since the military's been there paying these fucking people to learn how to defend themselves. And then look what the fuck happened.
Yeah.
So it's basically just wiping your ass with 25 million that you could be using to fix some sort of fuck up in our own country,
which they won't do.
They
don't want to admit that the country's fucked.
Yeah. So my taxes are going to get pissed away somewhere on some other part of the fucking world. Funding God knows what.
Maybe we're right in assuming that we shouldn't be paying taxes. Maybe some people are correct in the fact that we should not be paying taxes.
No, I understand. Like, there has to be some sort of tax in place, right?
Does there?
Yeah. You want infrastructure, right? You want roads to be maintained. You want,
that's just economy, spending money on economy.
But all that is through taxes, though. Sales tax.
Excuse me. Are you saying, do I want roads to be fixed? Yes, but I don't want to have to pay for them to fix every single road at once, so nothing gets done for a decade.
Well, it's not only roads. I mean, taxes pay for infrastructure, pay for emergency services, police, fire, EMS.
Didn't they defund the police in a state?
Not in where I'm at.
Not where you're at.
Maybe in California or some liberal shithole city, probably. Maybe Charlotte. But taxes pay for police, they pay for firemen, they pay for EMS, it pays for the schools. So that's what I mean by infrastructure.
Hold on. Okay.
Power, water.
However, don't cops and all of them pay taxes on their salary? So they're taking my taxes to pay somebody else to get taxed.
Pretty much.
That is bullshit.
Yeah.
If the money that I'm going to pay to somebody, if I'm getting taxed to pay somebody else's salary that is also getting taxed, that goes back to this, just one big circle jerk.
Yeah. And then on the federal level, people that pay taxes, pay for all these unnecessary programs. Some of these programs are abused, like, welfare, Social Security, programs like that where people make a living just off of suckling the teat of the government,
What?
So yeah, it's fucked, man.
What can you do? You can't do anything.
And that's the thing. That's why the system's in place. You just shut up and comply. I mean, what can you do about it?
Not pay taxes.
And then they throw you in prison, which is paid for by taxes, by the way.
Yeah, but I would get out I would get out for a non-violence offender, considering that overcrowding and everything. I don't think I wouldn't do too long in prison.
Yeah, the whole prison system's fucked too, man. It's all privatized. It's privatized, yet somehow taxes still go towards building them. It's weird.
Well, separation of church and state does not apply.
Does not apply. Yeah, that's a thing, man.
Oh man. Oh, but if you the way to get around taxes is you start your own church, because they don't pay taxes. All these evangelical people, no.
Yeah, it depends. It's like a specific, like, you have to file a specific way. It's not just.
Actually, it's surprisingly easy.
There are some churches that do pay taxes because they employ people. It's like someone at work was explaining this to me, because they're treasurer for their church, and so they do all the taxes and shit. It's like a specific type of church. Like, I don't know, maybe it's like a 1099 if they filed like nothing but 1099. Like
I know
all their
about the 1099.
Yeah, all of their employees are 1099, and then I think they can get out of paying taxes. But I guess in this person's situation, there was a lot of older people that they employ, and so it was probably easier in the long run just to give everybody like a regular W-2 and then file.
Well, is that the church that has to pay taxes, or is that the
Well,
individual people?
yeah, because if they do a W-2, then they have to pay like like payroll tax and shit.
Hmm.
Fucking everything's taxes, man. Fucking everything's goddamn taxes, man. It's fucking stupid.
I don't like taxes.
Nobody does, man. But like, in the situation that, taxes pay for a lot of good things, but they also pay for a lot of shit too. Like taxes, like local taxes that you pay your county or, state taxes help build schools, which kind of help.
Yeah, but I don't have kids, so what the fuck do I care about schools? I worked in a school. I should never have to pay for fucking schools again.
Yeah, but it all comes down to supporting your local area. Like I know the argument is I don't have fucking kids. Why should it matter? Well, it matters because you don't want.
I'll tell you this. You know what I was thinking about the other day? I want to preface this by saying I don't mean you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I got to really preface this by saying I don't mean you, buddy, because you're my buddy. I don't mean you. Is that being a single person, you really get screwed on one certain aspect of everything on your world. I'm thinking about this because my birthday's in like 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm starting to think about this. I'm about to really get screwed in one big aspect. It's gifts. Let me tell you why. Because let's say I'm friends with somebody. Mm-hmm. Every year we exchange a gift. And I'm like, hey, here's a gift on birthday and Christmas. And they're like, okay, cool. Here's a gift on birthday and Christmas. We're good. We're even. Mm-hmm. They get married. Okay, now it's not just me giving them a gift on their birthday and a gift for them for Christmas. Then I have to give it for the spouse. Yeah. And then, holy shit, what if they have kids? Then I'm fucking obligated. Because every time for my birthday, you know what they're going to do? They're just going to be like, oh, this is one gift from all of us. And I call bullshit on that.
I don't think that's a thing, man.
That is a goddamn thing.
I don't think you have to buy like my kids gifts, man.
Why? I would be your friend. Yes, I would, because I would go to their, I would be there, and I'm your
I've never gotten gifts from my dad's friends. Like that's not a thing.
That is a thing.
I don't think that's
you probably did when you were a kid.
Unless
probably
they
not when you were an adult.
Like
probably
if they
when you were a kid.
No, never.
No,
never, man.
My mom. I've gotten gifts from my mom's friends before.
I mean, it makes sense if they have kids and you hang out with their kids all the time. That
doesn't mean anything. Like if they constantly like hang out with the dad and they see you and they're kind of like your uncle. Yeah,
I don't think you're obligated to do that though.
You're not obligated, but you do it. It's kind of an obligation. It's a social obligation.
I guess it's like tipping.
Yeah, it's like tipping. And the thing is, it doesn't have to be much. But also, like with my sister, not only do I have to get my sister a gift, I have to get my two nieces a gift every time on their birthdays and Christmases and shit. And then on my birthday, it's generally like, oh, this is from all of us. And I'm like, great. I'm down.
Christmas is like that too.
I'm down $20 on each of you for each of the holidays. So that's $120. You guys can all just come together and spend $25 on me for my birthday and Christmas.
Well, I will say this: my wife and I don't do that. We generally like my brother and his fiance. We got my brother something. We got his fiance something, and then we got something for the house because they live together. So
well, that's 3. You got them 3 things.
Yeah,
but it evens out. Because they get you stuff and then your wife stuff. Again, it's even if it's a couple in a couple, but if it's a single person that is friends with,
So are you saying like I need to get you?
Kid.
So you're saying I need to get you 2 gifts, is what you're saying?
No. I'm not saying you. I'm not saying you. Although I will say my Christmas gift for me was a bit lackluster this year, sir. But
I don't even remember what I got you, man.
You didn't give me shit. But that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Now I feel bad.
Why?
Well, no, to be fair, I did ask you repeatedly for your address, and you're like, no, didn't we get you something? Didn't I bring you something? I'm pretty sure I did.
I don't think you did. It doesn't matter. You're a company. In fact, I'm down on you coming to visit me because I had to pay for your video games.
Well, I said I would. I said that I would pay you back, man.
I don't give a shit. I don't give you shit. Come on. I'm busting your balls because it's funny.
I'll get you back at too many games. I'll buy you something. I'll buy you. I can't promise I'll get you a fucking sculptor's cut, but I'll get you. I'll get you.
Give me Worms Armageddon or something.
I'll get you like a yokai watch on 3DS.
Oh God. Like yokai. I don't even play the 3DS, but God, I've heard that the prices are. I know I have friends that do play it, and they're like complaining about the prices. What's going on with that?
Well, I guess it all stems from every YouTuber ever talking about this, but and yeah, just add us to the fucking list, right?
Yes.
But you know, for the 8 people that have listened, we actually got a question in, by the way. I'll read it later.
Yay!
We could start doing Q&A stuff. But
literally 1 Q and 1 A.
Yeah. But so I think in the last couple of weeks, Nintendo's announced that they're closing Eshop come I think March of 23.
Oof.
Of 2023.
So we got a year.
No, but like I think in August you can't add funds to your account.
Oh.
So basically you have until August of this year, then you're
and do you need the specific thing, or can you just put your credit card on
it? I think it's hang on.
Like Nintendo points or whatever they're called.
I think you can still use the cards up until then, or I think what it is, like I've seen a couple people say, like if like your account on the Switch is the same like on your 3DS, you can just add funds onto your Switch and it'll kind of go through that way.
Okay.
But let me
well,
see.
That's not too bad. Because I know I had a copy of Pokemon Yellow when they're like $5.
You better
on the 3DS, but I don't remember what happened to it. Like,
well, I think you can still download stuff that you've purchased.
Okay, because that's always been a point of contention with me. Is like, does it have to be specifically on the same, or can you download it across things as long as you sign in? Because I was always under the assumption that you had to keep like your Wii if you wanted all the Wii games that you've downloaded, or the only time it works is on the 3DS that you downloaded. But if you like sell the 3DS and get another one, you don't get all the stuff that you've downloaded before.
I think it's tied to your Nintendo ID.
It's always a catch. I gotta figure out my
Nintendo ID. So the deal is the shops close in March 2023. You can buy with a credit card up until May 23rd.
Okay.
And then after that, you got to use the Nintendo cards, and those are good until August 29th to add funds to your account.
Well, does that mean that they're getting rid of the Nintendo cards because they're trying to save the world?
Probably.
Plastic is a little too expensive right now.
I don't know. Everything's fucking on shortage now. So after August, basically August 30th, the only way you can add funds is like, adding them to your Switch and then, using the same account. But I don't think my account's the same on my 3DS and my Switch. Like I think I made a new account for the Switch. So
I got to figure out my account because I have a 3DS and I have some games. Nothing great,
well,
but
you got 2 months, and then I guess we can if anybody's interested. If
2 months,
we got 2 months. Like we got April and most of May.
I thought you said August or September.
Well, to add, with a credit card, to add funds with a credit card.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
So we got time. You see, what this reminds me of is remember when they said they were going to shut down the PlayStation store for PS3 and Vita or whatever.
But the thing is, Nintendo does not give a fuck about keeping stuff open. They shut down the Wii. They shut down the was it the Picto Chat thing?
Yep. The Wii Shop channel or whatever it was.
Yeah, Nintendo does not give a fuck about preservation.
Oh shit! Are they shutting down the Wii U store?
Yeah.
It's I love my Wii U.
Yeah, it's the Wii U shop and the 3DS shop.
Bastards.
So on the Wii U, you better download any and all DLC you haven't fucking gotten. Like all those Smash Brothers characters.
I don't give a fuck about that. But there's still going to be probably a couple things.
All the patches and stuff for games, the updates, start downloading that shit now, because one day, and this is why my biggest argument against all digital gaming, because I like to go back and play shit. Yeah. I don't do it very often because I'm always playing new shit. However, there comes a time, I pop in Contra from time to time. You know, and granted, Contra may be a bad example because you can just fucking download that anywhere, but
it really is.
20 years from now, I want to pop in, I don't know, Puppeteer for PS3.
Ooh.
Where am I gonna be able to do that? Luckily, I have the disc. So,
you have Puppeteer?
Yeah, it's a good game. You should play it.
Oh no, I was thinking of, what was it? Fat Princess.
Oh yeah, what is it? The best of PSN shit.
Yeah.
It was $3 for the longest time, and then this bullshit happened, and then it got up to like 150. I think it's still going for like 100.
Fat Princess is now, it's an expensive game.
Yeah.
This is physical. I have a friend who was convinced for the longest time that DuckTales did not have a physical release. The remake.
Yeah, PS3.
It did. I know it did. Mm-hmm. But he was convinced for the longest time. He's like, I've had 3 copies and they're all digital. I'm like, dude, no, it's real. It exists.
Maybe they, after a while, just stopped producing the discs and just put code in there.
They did.
Oh, okay. No, I got a disc. Fuck. I'll post a picture of it on our Instagram or on our Twitter. Fuck.
Oh, speaking of that, how you said we got a question. How do they get in touch? And thank you, fan, for getting in touch.
Yeah,
or maybe you're not a fan.
It's one of our mutual friends.
Oh, so it's not really
related.
What does your wife say? Wife wants to know when you're coming.
Hey man, come on, these are supposed to be anonymous. Damn it. She had a good question. This person here.
Okay.
Very good question.
What was the question?
When did you decide to start collecting video games, and why?
Fudge. Okay. That's rough. That's a rough question. It was roughly around high school. Now, I didn't get serious into it. I did, but I remember going back to like EB Games and Funkoland and re-getting, and re-getting the same like PlayStation 2 games, because I was like, I want all the Sly Coopers and I want all the Jack and Dexters and all the Ratchet and Clanks, but I didn't have an income back then, so I would trade in other things. But then I was like, I would always get them back when they were cheaper. And but then I kind of got out of it in college. So it wasn't really until I moved to Texas that I really started looking at my games and was like, you know what, I kind of want to just keep some stuff. I still remember my first, like, again, and back then it was, Xbox 360 games. Because I was like, I can buy all these games. They're like $2 a piece. Why not just stock up and get a bunch? That's how I played games like Legendary and Mind Jack and all those games, because they were the games that were just on the bargain bin shelves. And I was like, all right, yeah, why not? Why would I spend, $40 on this game when I can get like 10 games for $40? Yeah. And so that's roughly what I did. I still remember driving down for my last time working at Disney, my last time driving down, picking up my very first NES game. And I still remember what game it was. It was Kung Fu.
Yeah, that's a good one.
The only reason I bought it is because it was cheap.
Back then.
And that was the start of my NES collecting, I would say. Again, I fall in and out of love with a lot of systems, and sometimes I just am like, I still don't care about the NES, the Super Nintendo, but I've really gotten to care about my GameCube collection. I've really gotten to care about my 64 was always a big one with me. Even, my 360, and for some reason Wii is now becoming basically becoming my biggest collection now because the games are so cheap. There's so much shovelware.
Yeah, for now, yeah.
Like I'm at yard sales and people are literally like, "Get this shit out of my house," and I'm like, "Okay."
Well, I got a couple titles I'm looking for, so I'll text you
on the Wii.
Yeah.
What are you looking for?
There's the Zack and Wiki.
Zack and Wiki.
Yeah. Zack and Wiki. Search for something treasure.
I can look. I
Quest for Barbaros treasure.
Quest for Barbaros treasure.
Zack and Wiki Quest for Barbaros treasure. It's a Capcom game.
Okay, if it's anything like that, I may not have it. But if you need a game called Gummy Bear Birthday Bash, I think that's what it's called. I have it, and not only do I have it, it's got all the birthday invitations still in it.
Holy shit!
I know. Rare. So what we're gonna do is, in my birthday in 3 days, I'm gonna start sending out invitations on Gummy Bear Birthday Bash, and we're gonna play Gummy Bear Birthday Bash. I'm gonna get a 100-pound gummy bear, and we're gonna play Operation on it, and that'll be the cake. I'm a grown adult man who's in his 30s, and I need a gummy bear birthday themed.
There's nothing wrong with that, man. There's nothing wrong with that.
I would love to do that. I would love to have a birthday that's themed from when you were a kid, like Ninja Turtles, and everybody dresses up in shitty Ninja Turtle stuff. And
well, my wife threw me a Mario birthday last year.
Yeah, I guess I saw a couple pictures of that.
Yeah, man. She goes above and beyond, man.
It must be nice to have somebody that fucking cares about you.
I have no words.
Stop throwing that in my face.
I don't.
Every time you mention it,
she cares about you too, man. Just not in the same way.
Just not in the same way.
Yeah. So you got people that care about you. I care about you.
That's sweet. I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
But what about you? What got you into it?
It's kind of the same for me. I started kind of tail end high school, early college. That's when I started going to that flea market, on Bragg a lot. And that's the days that I would kind of go in and you could pay $5 and get a damn good, you could get a Legend of Zelda for $2 for Super Nintendo, at the flea market back then.
Technically, you still can.
This was.
Did I tell you about that Wind Waker I got for $2 last year?
Oh, this is Link to the Past. You can't do that these days. Anything cartridge based, forget about it, right? But man. And then I guess the bug just hit because I broke college kid. I couldn't get a lot of the new shit, right? So you go back and you get some of the old shit for cheap. And that's where I discovered a lot of games that I've never played before. A bunch of Sega stuff, older Game Boy stuff. Never found any of the obscure consoles like Virtual Boy, none of that stuff. Because it was expensive back then, and damn, it is expensive now, right? So
if only we had a time machine.
Right. But that's kind of so this would have been maybe 2008, when I really started. I've always had game, I've kept all my games from childhood, and
I've kept my grandmother was a big gamer.
Yeah.
And so I'm still trying to get her stuff from when she passed because I know that'll be safe with me. Mm-hmm. And I played those games with her, but I got her N64 and the copy of Mario 64 that we played.
Yeah.
So many hours on. That's the one I do speed runs on. It was her copy, and we played that so much. And
that's kind of sentimental to you. So I like stuff like that. I was never into collecting. I have to complete the N64 set because I'm not gonna. You. Well, I'm not that. Everybody's different. I'm not that type of, I guess, collector, right? I only buy stuff that I'm interested in, and that I know that I'll play eventually. Now, finding time to play all this shit is a different story, but at least I know, the stuff sitting on my shelf, I'm gonna one day sit down, God willing, maybe when I retire, when I'm 90, and actually sit down and play it. Stuff like fighting games, RPG games, series that I like. I'll get those games. Like I have no interest in getting all 3,000 fucking Wii games because 75% of it is shovelware shit. Like I have no interest in that.
For me, it's just I just pick up as much cheap shit as I can.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people who are like, "Oh, I'm going to collect all of this stuff," and they spend so much money on it. No,
Yeah.
I will pick up anything if it's cheap.
And it's in and it's semi-complete, meaning like a case at least.
Depends.
Like I don't need complete in box.
Disc games, yeah, I understand.
Well, disc games, like I can like just I will at least want the case and original artwork because there's no excuse to fucking throw that away. Like I can't stand like loose DS games because it's like fucking why. But like recently I've gotten into buying more video game memorabilia because it's not as like if anything Yoshi I would buy because I love Yoshi. This like
yeah. I got you that nice plush Yoshi.
Yeah, the one that's bugged, right?
Yes, the one.
I found the weirdest thing over the weekend besides my $10 copy of Shadows of the Empire, but
oh, did I send you a picture of what I found over the weekend?
Yeah, that was strange, but so you remember the game Lunar, right?
Yeah.
So I found this was a toy store that's near where I live. It's a retro toy store. 80s, 90s, you go in there. Like I need to take you to the store when you come down here. That's one of the first places we're going to go because they have vintage GI Joe, Ninja Turtles, like shit that you've not seen in like 20 years, like complete in box. It's fucking crazy. But what I look down and I see the Lunar logo. I'm like, what the fuck is this? It's a hand puppet. It's one of those like boxing hand puppets.
Yeah.
It's got a little mechanism and
like the punching Judy thing.
Yeah. But it's of one of the I think he's the main antagonist of the first Lunar game. And this thing is complete in box, like mint. And it was $20. And I was like, I have to fucking, because I will never see this shit again. I didn't even know this thing existed. So like I have to fucking, right? So that was my weird find for the weekend. And I got a couple of Pokemon cards that they had, like one of which I needed for my Team Rocket set, but
still can't believe you're collecting Pokemon cards.
Yeah, man, I'm a fucking crazy person.
You really are. So I found something over the weekend too.
Yeah, I saw that
for $10.
I don't even know. That's almost as crazy as the riot shield we found.
I don't know how I find this shit. All right, so what I found was it's Kingdom Hearts.
Was this a yard sale?
No, it was at the flea market.
Oh shit.
It's a Kingdom Hearts Keyblade, full metal. And it's got like half a snowflake. So I don't know which Keyblade it is. I tried to look it up. I couldn't find it.
Maybe the frozen one from the
I had looked. Hang on. Kingdom Hearts Keyblade. Darn, gotta move that. So
so it wasn't someone's cosplay prop. It was like a metal thing somebody made.
Yeah. Okay, so it's just a snowflake Kingdom Hearts Keyblade. I guess it's the ice Keyblade. It kind of looks like an ice Keyblade type thing. So yeah, it's not the one that you could get at like GameStop that was all foam. Everything. No, this is like pure fucking metal.
Yeah.
And it goes with my other. Apparently, I'm collecting video game swords, and I didn't even realize it.
Yeah,
here it is.
You got the Master Sword, and
here we go. Kingdom Hearts Silver Keyblade, the Oath Keeper.
Okay,
just found it.
So that's one of that's one of his signature ones.
Yeah. So I'm just looking at it right now. It looks like it's about an $80 thing. Yeah, because I found the exact one that I have. It's called Kingdom Hearts Silver. Yeah, Oath Keeper. Are you older than 18? Yes.
No.
Or no.
What
it looks like
this is about to watch, man.
Looks like you have to buy this in Europe because this is in pounds. So anyway, I have that.
That's cool.
And I have, of course, Skyward Sword Zelda, a metal sword.
Mhm.
Bought it from the same guy that I got this Keyblade from.
Well, if he gets an Oblivion Keyblade, I want it.
I don't know how he finds this shit, but he was like $10, and I was like, all right, why you got to.
That Oblivion Keyblade is my favorite one, man. It was from the first game. I remember it was all black and it looked so fucking cool. Like it had like Batwing looking things on the hilt of it. So badass.
I'm gonna say yes. I'm gonna admit right now I'm not the biggest Kingdom Hearts fan, and by not the biggest. I tried
like
to play the first game. I played the first game, most of it. But
it's
but
generally
I
like the
God,
opposite of what
it was so horrible. The first game, like the Tarzan level, pissed me off so much because you're up, you're down, you're up, you're down, you're over here, you're left, right.
There's so much backtracking in that fucking that level, man.
And I'm like, what the fuck?
It's like the worst one. It was the most boring level.
And it's right at the beginning too. Yeah. But apparently you can skip the
it's not as bad as the Little Mermaid level. Fuck,
you can skip that level. Apparently that level is skippable.
Yeah, but like you can't, 100% and all that shit.
Who cares about 100%?
I do, because you get the Ultima weapon.
Yeah, after you've beat the game, who cares? Oh, I'm gonna go through it again, and I'm gonna have this ultimate.
No, you get it. You get it before.
Listen. The only games that really did New Game Plus very, very well, and I'm sure there's other franchises I'm forgetting, but the one that really sticks in my mind that did it extremely well, Ratchet and Clank series, because you would get the New Game Plus. But it was you could keep upgrading your weapons, you could do things faster, and it made it such replayable. And getting the Rhino was awesome. So
Souls is really good about that, because you just
God, Dark Souls.
Yeah, you just keep going. No. Every time you start over, it gets harder, and you just keep going.
No, F that. I hate Souls-based games. This is why I'm not going to get the new Elden Ring. Now, I'm not one of those people that are like, this game sucks. Why is it getting 10s? No, I can understand why it's getting 10s.
It's just not fun for you.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's just not fun for you.
Other people are enjoying it. That's fine. It's not my type of game. Just like any type of racing game or wrestling or sports or this type of shit. I understand it has its people out there. I am not one of them.
Teach your own.
Yes, a teacher is its own.
A teacher is his own,
Yeah.
I'm not. I don't have any interest in Madden games. So, but somebody's buying them because they keep making them. So, what the fuck? Who am I to judge, right? I play fucking RPGs with little, anime girls in them, like, whatever.
That is the creepiest thing you could say.
Hey, I bet I can do better.
Are you gonna play Moemon? Jesus Christ! Have you heard of Moemon?
Yeah, I know what it is, and I'm actually looking at a copy right now.
Oh my God, you weird. Well, at least you're married.
Well, I like the designs, man. It's pretty creative.
Yes, you like the designs of little girls dressed up in Halloween costumes.
Get back in your ball there, or you'll get the hose again.
That's just weird, man. I think that we should end the podcast on what's in your console. I think it's that time.
All right. So our segment where we talk about what we've been playing. Right now, all my consoles are in boxes. So, yeah. Although I have went back into Brilliant. What's the one I have? Shining Pearl. Yeah. Trying to do some of the end game stuff. Like you can go to the underground and catch all the starters. Okay. So I've been trying to catch a Charmander. I got a Squirtle and Torchic, and I think these are the only 2 starters I found so far. But you can get, I think it's all of them up to Diamond and Pearl. So you can catch like another Chimchar and shit, which I have like 3 of them now.
Trade one over to me.
Yeah, we'll do. And then there's you remember the original Diamond and Pearl where they had the PAL Park?
Yeah.
Where you can like transfer GBA Pokemon into. So they have a cool kind of mechanic. So in the underground, you find these like special red gems, and I forget exactly what they're called, but they're only good at that park. And what it does is it you can buy these little tablets. They kind of look like GBA cartridges. And when you go in the park, like they have these shrines, right? These caves that you go into with these shrines, and these tablets that you buy correspond to different shrines. So once you put a tablet in there, it triggers a fight with a previous legendary. So like you can catch like the bird trio, or you can catch like the last two I caught were the Regice and the Regirock. I think from Ruby Sapphire. So yeah, that's kind of a cool thing. You can catch legendaries from other Pokemon games. So that's what I'm doing.
Cool.
Yeah, I know. Fascinating. What's in your console?
Okay, well, still playing World of Warcraft. I'm gonna be honest.
Mm-hmm.
However, I actually turned on my Xbox the other day, and I tried two things. I tried my first racing game.
Mm-hmm.
Played it for about 20 minutes and then deleted it.
What game was that?
Need for Speed Hot Pursuit, where you can play as like the cop. Because there was one racing game I kind of liked when I was a kid,
Mm-hmm.
or when I was growing up, was Burnout 3 with the crashes and everything.
Right.
So Need for Speed Hot Substitute is my brain had a weird thing go with it. So basically, the Need for Speed Hot Pursuit has a thing when you're a cop that you can crash into racers and arrest them, where honestly these crashes, they're probably dead. But I was like, all right, I'll give it a shot, and I played a couple of them, and I was like, all right, that's kind of all right, but I'm not going to play this more than this, so I deleted it. Then GameStop was actually having a buy two get one free on some games, so I bought 3 games. 2 games I bought a game called Remnant from the Ashes.
Okay.
And I bought its sequel, Chronos Before the Ashes, which is technically a sequel prequel, if you know what I mean.
Like
it's the second game in the series, but it's technically a prequel to the first game.
So like
like episode 1, 2, 3 of Star Wars. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, and then I bought some Switch game. I don't remember, something dungeon, something. Anyway, they were all under $20, so it was like buy two get one free on any games under $20. So I installed Remnant, and me and our mutual friend, who might have to join us one day, just as a pop-in. We've been playing that because it is co-op, and it's kind of a dungeon crawler roguelike, but it's a third person like shooter slasher. So I heard it's kind of Souls-like. I don't see it that much. I mean, but yeah, it's really kind of interesting, and we played it last night. It was pretty good. There's also a PC game, an RTS, kind of. I don't really like RTS games. I don't like video games. I've come to realize I just don't like video games. No, so
just like buying them.
I just like buying them. It's art to me at a certain point.
Right.
So it's not really an RTS game. It's more of a resource gathering game, and you're trying to just survive. But it's from an RTS perspective. It's called Frostpunk.
Oh, I think I've heard of that.
Yeah. It's very interesting. You're basically kind of like, the best way I can describe it, and sorry to describe it this way with what's going on, but you're kind of in like Soviet Russia, really cold, and it's like negative 20 degrees, and you have to keep a giant engine turned on with coal and everything in order to heat everybody and keep everybody alive. So it's about getting the resources and advancing, and it's very interesting. I played it for a couple hours on a couple different days, so I played it more than one day. So that'll get my, hey, if you have Game Pass, and this is available on the Game Pass for PC, so you can play it for free. And you can also, even though I bought it, you can play Remnant for free. Yeah, I should have looked at that before I did that.
Yeah.
But that's okay. So, yes, basically, if it's on Game Pass and it's free, I'll give it a shot. As hot as the Need for Speed also was for free. Yeah. That's all I've got. And I want to thank every person out there for listening. I want to give a special shout out to Drop Shadow's wife for being very, very appreciative of everything that we do, and possibly for asking us that question. I don't know if it was her, but
thank you, anonymous person.
Thank you, anonymous person. We're hoping to get more pictures. If anybody, we're hoping to get more questions and everything. Just everything, everybody who is out there. We're still looking at Too Many Games, maybe for a first one.
Yep. So we put in a panel for Too Many Games to do a live episode. Hopefully we get picked.
I really think that I'm pretty sure that we will. Well, I mean, I'll put in for my panel, for the other panels too, the one that we do together.
Yeah, so
which would be the first one we do together.
Yeah, and that was the con that we did it the first time too, all those years ago. But hit us up on Twitter. We're at CalamityJP on Twitter, or you can send us an email directly to I'm looking it up now. Calamity Junction Podcast at Gmail is our direct email. Drop us a question or a comment, feedback. Any feedback is helpful. We're kind of new with this. I'm certainly new with this podcasting thing. So, but I like doing it. It's a good distraction from the day-to-day grind, and it's I'm doing it with a good friend of mine, so I can't complain too much.
What's his name? I'll kill him.
I hope not, because I'm out of a co-host. So.
Oh no.
But yeah, thank you again, everybody. This week is Happy Mario Day on the 10th. I think we're recording this on the 7th. So.
Which is also my birthday.
Yeah. So happy March 10th. Happy Mario Day. Happy Holtey's birthday. And we'll catch everybody on the next one.
It's been a calamity. I don't know. Maybe that could be a jingle. I don't know.